May, first name, Stringer, last name. That's not the case. It's May dash Stringer. This house was actually built in two parts by two different people. The first 4 rooms were built in 1856 by John May. In 1880, Dr. Sheldon Stringer bought the property and added 10 more rooms. So it's now a 14-room house. We're allowed to go into 12 of the 14 rooms tonight, so it's a pretty big house. Now the first 4 rooms were the parlor, the dining room next to it, and the 2 bedrooms directly above it. None of this existed prior to 1880. And the reason I'm telling you this is that the front steps of the original house was right here. And right where this lady's standing was the scene of the first drive-by shooting in Hernando County. This took place in 1866, right after the Civil War was over. Things were very ugly here in the Deep South. They'd lost the war. Their economy was in the toilet. There was a lot of vigilantism and retaliation and black versus white and vice versa. It was a very bad time. Well, there was a vigilante committee formed here in Brooksville of 12 white men, and they decided they were going to run the show in this town. Well, they'd heard a rumor going around town that a black man was courting a white woman. Not a good time to have this happen. So they decided to make an example out of him. So they went to his house in the middle of the night, dragged him out of bed and hung him from a tree. Well, as it turned out, the rumor was false. And over the next 12 months, 11 of these white vigilante gentlemen, and I use the term loosely, turned up dead by various means. Number 11 was on the front steps of this house. He was actually climbing the steps to visit the current occupant, number 12, and as he did, someone rode by on horseback and shot him dead right here. So this house has been involved in some mighty bad juju going all the way back to the Civil War. No wonder we're haunted. All right, let's start the tour in this part of the house. If you would, please come over here because we're going to be looking at some pictures.
Hi, Josie. I'm Bonnie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Now, as I start every tour, I'd like to remind everyone, this is a gorgeous Victorian house, but it's also a museum. We house 11,000 artifacts in this building that are irreplaceable. So as you go through the evening and as it gets a little darker, please just be careful. Notice what's going on around you. We aren't ghost adventures. We don't yell and scream and run and crash into things, okay? So, Zach will never be here. And as a matter of fact, Travel Channel contacted us and wanted to have Zach and the boys come here. I said, the building won't survive, so we're very sorry.
No, all the gadgets and things they put on the walls and the floor and tape and.
Actually, Ghost Adventures, I personally feel it's staged,
Oh, yeah, they got to make the money.
Exactly, they have to keep the show going, right? So, all right, 1855, John May comes down here to Florida from Alabama. He brings his wife Marina and their little baby girl. Between him and his mother, they purchased 360 acres all around this house. It eventually became Uptown Brooksville. John started a plantation here, and he needed a house for his wife and child to live in, so he built this little 4-room house. They moved in. Marina, his wife, gave birth to a second little baby girl, and 1 year later, at the age of 25, John May died in this house. He had what they call consumption. We call it tuberculosis today, but they didn't have medicines in those days, and if you got something that serious, it was almost always fatal. So John dies and leaves his 25-year-old wife here with 2 babies, a bunch of slaves, and a whole plantation to run. They stay here, and Marina runs the whole show by herself for the next 9 years until the Civil War was over. When the war was over, this guy right here, take a really good look at him. I might show you another picture of him later. His name was Frank Saxon. He was a local boy. He'd gone off to fight for the Confederacy in the war, and he was wounded in Perryville, Kentucky, and taken prisoner by the Union Army. They transferred him to Atlanta to a prisoner of war camp. He spent the rest of the war there. Now, when the war was over, the Union Army didn't know what to do with all these Confederate prisoners. just opened the gates of these prison camps and told him to go home. Frank walked back to Brooksville from Atlanta. Think about it. Do you think you could do that? Well, nobody expected him to show up, but he did. He came back alive, and that made him a big local hero. Well, his first order of business was to find a rich widow to marry. Guess who that was? Marina Main. So he married her, and of course, back then, as soon as a man married a woman who owned property, her property became his property. So overnight, he's a wealthy man. So he moves right into this house, and they had 2 babies. The first was a little boy. He was very sickly when he was born, and he only survived 5 weeks. Marina got pregnant again, and this time she delivered a little baby girl. They named the baby girl Jessie May Saxon. If any of you have looked us up on the internet, Jessie May's pretty famous. Well, poor Marina, she gave birth to Jessie, and 3 weeks later she died of childbed fever, which was an infection. But again, no antibiotics in those days, so a simple infection could get away from you, and that's what happened. It was fatal. So, Frank the Bachelor is now living in this house with a newborn infant and 2 little girls, John May's 2 daughters, who are now 9 and 10 years old. They all live together in this little 4-room house until just before Jessie's 3rd birthday, and she dies. She dies very suddenly. We don't know the cause of death because she died in 1872. In 1873, the courthouse burned to the ground and took all these records with it. The only proof we have that this child even existed is this one picture. This was taken right here in the parlor at her funeral. In those days, they didn't take a lot of pictures of small children, so when a child died very suddenly, they had to hurry up and get a picture of the corpse, and that's what this is. It's usually that in the little cradle here. This is a copy of the one and only picture. The Saxon family still lives here in Brooksville, and they have the original. But they were kind enough to give us a copy. Because this child was born in this house, she died in this house, and she's still in this house. How do we know that? Those of us who volunteer here have all had our own interaction with this little girl. Now, I've been a member and a volunteer here for 17 years. I had my first paranormal experience 3 weeks after I started. And in the early days, I was just a daytime docent like everyone else. This is way before ghost hunting became really popular. Saturday afternoon, I'm here with a bunch of docents, and it was closing time, so I sent my 9-year-old daughter upstairs to turn out the lights. I could hear Michelle's sneakers going from room to room, but I heard a second set of footsteps. And these were little shoes going pop, 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 pop. Pretty soon my daughter's sneakers are going really fast. And she came tearing down that front staircase. She's 9. And looked at me and said, "Mama, don't ever make me go anywhere in this house by myself again." I said, "I won't, I heard footsteps." She goes, "Never mind that, Mama, there's a little girl upstairs that was grabbing the back of my leg." That was it for my daughter. After that, she was attached to my left leg at all times. I don't really blame her. Being 9 years old and having that experience was probably quite enough. Anyway, all right, let's move on into the dining room. If you would please come right around the table. You will notice you're going down. So I've been with the museum for 17 years. We founded and started the ghost tours 15 years ago. So the first 2 years I was a Saturday afternoon docent, and it was on a Saturday afternoon. I'm standing in this room. I had 6 people here, and I'm doing the day tour.
That's him.
Oh, that was you, Jessica. Okay. So I'm doing the day tour, which is artifacts and history and architecture of the building and so forth. At the time, there was an exhibit of antique cups and saucers over here. So I'm standing here talking to these folks, and like I said, it's early days. I'm not into ghosts. I'm not into ghost hunting. And all of a sudden, all the teacups started jumping around on the saucers, and they go, "Well, I don't know what this is," and I go, "I don't know." So I said to myself, okay, Just say what you gotta say in this room really fast and get out. So, I'm talking faster and faster and trying not to look over here. And these poor folks, they're looking at me and they're looking over there and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And all of a sudden, one of the teacups went up in the air about 8 inches, flipped over, and came down. And I was done. I looked at my desk and I said, "Shall we?" And their eyes were bigger than mine, folks. And they're like, okay. Now I gotta hand it to them. They went on the entire tour after this. We did the first floor. We did the second floor. I even took them to the attic, and you will find out shortly I don't do that anymore. And every room we walked into, as soon as we crossed the threshold, something in the room would fall on the floor. And it happened room after room after room. I don't know to this day if it was me or a person in the group that was triggering this activity, but we were getting some kind of big old message. Well, at the end of every tour, day or night, we come down that front staircase, and we, at the time, the last room was the doctor's office. So I bring them down the staircase and I'm announcing, and now we're going to the doctor's office. I turned left, they turned right, went straight out that front door and said, "No, we're done, we're done." And I never saw them again. I guess they'd had their fill of the maze. All right, we're gonna move into a little smaller room. You're all new best friends from now on. By the way, the 11,000 artifacts that we have here were all donated. We have no budget to buy anything. So all these wonderful things you see are thanks to local people and people who moved here, you know, from elsewhere and just wanted to be a part of this. All right. This room was added on after 1880. You were now out of the 1856 house. Dr. Stringer added it for the family's private use. I know it's decorated as a kitchen, and that's because we have all these wonderful artifacts that belong in a kitchen, but there never was a kitchen in this house in either John May's time or Dr. Stringer's time. In the South, in those days, if you were moneyed, you had a cookhouse 20 feet from the main house. Fire was the biggest danger. If the cookhouse caught on fire, it wouldn't burn down the house. Obviously, heat in the summertime was a very big factor as well. So this room was added on as like a hangout for the family. Because he practiced medicine in the same house he lived in, the public is trooping through his house all hours of the day and night. If you needed the doc, you went to his house. So there were only certain areas of the house that were kind of privacy for the family. This was one of them. That doorway is the back door of the original Stringer house from 1885. The room you see beyond it was added on by the granddaughter in the 1930s. So that didn't even exist prior to that time. Now this same granddaughter sold this house out of the family in 1949. The house became a single family rental from 1950 until it was abandoned in 1974. It went on to be condemned in 79, and that's when the Museum Association, our nonprofit group, was formed to save it from demolition. It was actually going to be torn down. So from 50 to 74, big families rented this house for the obvious reason. If you had 6 or 8 or 10 kids, a 14-room house was perfect. The other factor was, even back then, this house rented for $100 a month. Why was it so cheap? Nobody stayed very long.
Friends.
One Saturday afternoon in the early days of, we had actually started the ghost tours, there was a tour going on, and I wasn't doing the tour, but I overheard a man on the tour say to someone else, "I lived in this house when I was 8 years old." Well, I grabbed him right out of that tour and I said, "Guess what? You're going on a personal private tour with me. I'm going to take you wherever you want to go, and you're going to tell me what it was like to be 8 years old and living in this house." So we did. He told me he was one of 6 kids. The day the family moved in, there was a knock at the front door. His mom went to answer it, and it was the mailman. And he looked at her and he said, "You're not moving in here." She said, "Well, yes, we are." He said, "You're not going to stay. Everybody in Brookstone knows this house is haunted." She said, "Listen, mister, I got 6 kids and the price is right, we're gonna stay. Well, they managed to hang on, and those are his words, for 11 months. Now, the night before they gave up and left, they'd been out for the evening. When they came home, they opened the front door and the lights weren't working in the house. Well, that wasn't such a big deal, except there was this god-awful racket upstairs. There were chains rattling and the wind was howling and people were screaming. It was terrible. So the dad said to the mom, stay outside with the kids. He grabbed the family dog and a baseball bat and headed in the front door. The dog wouldn't cross the threshold. He bolted. So the father starts up the front staircase with nothing but a baseball bat. He gets to the top of the stairs. All the noise stopped, and every light in this house went on simultaneously. He said that was it, they were done. The next morning, they gave no notice. They quietly packed up and left. I said, well, you know what? You're in your 40s, and this happened when you were 8 years old. What took you so long to come back here? And he looked at me and he said, listen, lady, I had to grow up and be a big boy. I wasn't ready to come back here. So on his way out the door, I said, what was the single scariest thing that happened to you personally when you lived here? He said one day he was running through the house bouncing a ball on the floor, and it was annoying his mom. So she yelled at him and said, take the ball upstairs and put it away in your room. So he went up the little back staircase here, and he's bouncing the ball down the upstairs hallway. Out of his bedroom steps a woman, and she's wearing a long gown and her hair's up in a bun, and she's mad. She looks at him and says, you quit that racket right now. Put her hand out and say, give me the ball. Well, he was so flabbergasted to see her, he gave her the ball. She took it, turned around and went back into his bedroom. About 10 seconds later, he hears the ball bouncing on the floor. So he peeks around the corner. She's gone. Now imagine being 8 years old and having that experience, and that night, mom and dad tell you to go to bed. Maybe, maybe not. All right, we're gonna go upstairs next, and this is where I apologize if it takes me a little bit to get through this. We're gonna take the back stairs. These are the original stairs from John May's 1856 house. Dr. Stringer left them in place when he began to add to the house, and they became the servant stairs. They are very steep, they are very narrow. Insurance regulations stipulate everyone please hold the handrail. Okay, all right, so here we go. All right, Jesse's gonna go first. He'll show you where to go.
Off rally. Step up.
Yes, sir. I've already seen 2 orbs.
Honestly curious of how old the wiring would be. How old the wiring would be.
Oh, you know the Winchester?
No, I just wanted to show you.
Yeah, you did it, that's way down there.
Sorry, I don't want to blind anybody.
Well, this is the Stringer's master bedroom. It was added on by Dr. Stringer for him and his wife. It's an original ensuite, if you all watch HGTV. This door here is a walk-through closet. And on the other side of the walk-through closet is a bathing room. It's no longer a bathing room, but that's what it was used for. So they could have the privacy to go back and forth to take a bath or whatever. So it's an original ensuite. It was also a haven for Mrs. Stringer. She had very few places in this house she could go and be completely private, especially with the public trooping through her house downstairs. But if she came up here and shut that door, this was her one place. She would have her writing desk, she would have her sewing things or her hobbies, or whatever she needed. This is also what I call James's room. James was a young man who was staying here. It was right after World War I, and he had just returned from battle, and he was engaged to be married before he went off to war. Well, while he was staying here, he was a guest in this room. He found out that the young lady he was engaged to married someone else while he was gone and never told him. This young man was devastated. She was what kept him alive. He was so devastated that he ended his life. I did a lot of research to find out who he was and what happened. And I found his obituary in the Tampa Tribune from 1919. And it just said, a decorated war hero died suddenly in Brooksville. For his sake and for the Stringer family's sake, they didn't go into the gory details. But he was staying in this room, and we believe that he ended his life up in the attic. He's very sad. It's been 100 years that he's still here. And I personally feel that he committed what he felt was the ultimate sin, which was suicide. And his version of hell is to stay where he committed this sin and relive it over and over again. So he's been with us for a very long time. I hope for his sake that he eventually can let it go and forgive himself. In the meantime, we had our ups and downs, he and I. Things used to fly around when I'd first come in the museum, and I could not figure out who was doing it or why. And one day I brought some guests in after hours, and it was always military artifacts that would go flying across the room. So I would bring them in the back door, which was the military room back then. And this picture of Uncle Sam, it was a recruiting poster from World War I, went flying right by my face and crashed on the floor. And it broke the glass, it broke the frame, and I lost my temper. In front of my guests, I'm yelling in thin air, "Now look what you did, you broke the damn thing, you gotta quit throwing stuff." And one of my guests, a man in his 70s, grabs his chest. His eyes are bugging straight out, and I thought, oh my God, I gave the dude a heart attack. And he looks at me and he goes, "It's because you don't pay attention." And I'm like, okay. And he stepped back and he said, "I'm really sorry, I don't know why I said that." I said, "I do, I got the message. So don't throw any more stuff in, I will say hello to you every time I come in the door." So I named him James. That is not his real name, because he has descendants, family that still live here. So we don't bandy his name about town, and he seems to be okay with it. One night during an investigation, they asked him, you know, "Is it okay that Bonnie named you James?" And he said, "I prefer Jimmy." So if y'all want to talk to him later, go with James or Jimmy, I'm not sure. Anyway, he goes on all my tours, and now instead of throwing things, when I come in, when I get this on the top of my head, that's his signal to me that he's with me. He likes to go on day tours, night tours, because he's been hanging out for 100 years. He's getting a little bored, I think. And he has a real thing for ladies. So at this point on every tour, on behalf of the museum, I apologize in advance in case anyone is touched inappropriately this evening. His favorite thing is grabbing butts. So that being said, and he really likes butts. You're tonight's target. All right, we're going to go across the hall into the old part of the house. I didn't know you could pinch. All right, so this is the original master bedroom for the four-room house. So John and Marina May shared this room, and later on Frank and Marina Saxon. It was right outside this window during the early days of investigating that I became aware that there's a man on the second floor porch. And I don't see spirit with my eyes. My mother could, and my daughter does, but I'm aware of them. I see them inside my head. Well, we were downstairs on the first floor porch at Command Central for this investigation, and I kept telling the leader of the group, second floor, there's a guy on the second floor porch. And I told him exactly where he was, and the guy looked at me like, okay, so you're the crazy lady at the museum, and I'm very proud to say I earned that title. And he just ignored me. Well, finally, we're looking at all these monitors with night vision cameras set up all over the house, and I'm pointing to this room, the camera, and two women were in here with all these ghost hunting gadgets, voodooing around trying to conjure up a ghost. And I pointed at them, excuse me, and I said, see these two? He goes, yeah. I said, there's a man standing 4 feet from them, watching them through the window. They don't know he's there with all these gadgets, and he's laughing because they're entertaining him. Well, he thought I was really the nutty lady at the museum. And nobody would listen to me. Well, finally at 12:30 that night, 2 people came out of the house, and this group had come from Fort Lauderdale, so they were tired, they wanted to go back to the hotel. And I said, just humor me. Walk out in that parking lot, point one of your bazillion-dollar cameras at the second floor porch, please, and take a picture. And they did. And the next day, on their website, was the first and one of the only full-bodied apparitions ever captured at the May Strickner house. And guess who it was? My God, standing right where I said it was. Nah. So, I called him up and I said, hey, see, you got a good picture there. Can we have a copy for our ghost tours? No, we copyrighted the picture. You can't have it.
Oh.
Yeah. They no longer exist as a group, by the way. Ha ha. Anyway, so I used to complain to every ghost tour I did, the best picture ever, and I can't show it to you because these people are jerks. Well, one night at the end of the tour, this young man came up to me and he goes, you really want that picture? I said, yeah, but I can't download it, I can't print it. He says, I know how to get it. I said, don't say another word, here's my email address. Sure enough, a week later, I get an email from the kid and there's my picture. Boy, did we print that sucker out. It's now downstairs in the Book of Fame, which you're all welcome to take a look at tonight. We captured this 15 years ago, and a lady on a 2-hour tour was on her way out the door, took one last picture of the house, and there he is again. He's still out there. I think he's been out there for over 100 years, and he's just pacing back and forth in the old part of the house. And it's the guy, I showed you his picture downstairs. So he had a very important role as far as the early days of this house are concerned. So, that being said, let's go to one of the best hot spots in the whole house.
That means your butt.
Your buddy.
I'm just gonna put her butt out there.
You're just gonna put her first, right?
This is my
It's
favorite
not false accusations.
house. This is Jessie Mae's bedroom. She was born in this room. She died in this room. Her mama died in this room after she was
No, you're
born. And probably a bazillion more over the next 150 years. This is where the women and the children are. We have other children here besides the 3-year-old. Case in point, this baby right here. She is one of the oldest artifacts in the entire museum, so we talk about her on the day tour as well as the night tour. She is also the beloved baby of a little girl about 5 or 6 years old. Somebody's messing around down there. I said, oh, we pick up.
Yeah, like they get pulled up in a lady and
So you wanna go
somebody's-
check that? I'm sorry.
Oh, is that your car?
Send it back in.
Can't make it on time, we're not starting.
Yep, shame on them. Alright, so the little girl that's attached to this baby is about 5 or 6 years old. And I found out about her the hard way, as usual. I'm on a day tour, and we talk about her, and I used to touch her cheek with my finger when I talked about her. And I did that, and my 9-year-old, who's attached to my left leg, interrupted my tour, and she knew better. She goes, Mom. I said, what? She said, there's a little girl standing right next to you, and she told me to tell you that she hates it when you touch your baby, and it's a baby, don't call it a doll. So I don't touch her anymore. She's the biggest no-touch in the entire museum. And she is the proud baby of this little girl. Predates the Civil War. You realize how old that is? Her body is made of cloth and sawdust. So it's at the point of disintegration at this point. She's already lost a hand and a foot, so we don't move her ever. And the people who tried to mess with her in the past, I'm not even gonna go into it, just take my word for it, it's ugly, okay? So, one night we had a group in here and I had told them, don't touch. It's a no-touch museum anyway. So they waited for me, I had to run and pick my daughter up at the skating rink and come right back. And while I'm gone, they talked my teammate into picking up the doll. And she was in tears. I come back, all hell's breaking loose. Her son, her teenage son, is laying on the floor at the bottom of the front staircase. I'm like, what the hell happened? I was gone 10 minutes. And she said, they taught me into picking up the doll, and as soon as I did, I started to cry, and Nick heard me cry, so he started up the stairs, and something punched him in the chest and knocked him off the stairs. And I'm like, what? I looked at his chest, and he had a punch mark in his sternum. Seriously. And he'd gotten only 3 steps up, and he got thrown off. So she was crying. I'm upset, and I said, okay, you guys are done. I told you, don't touch anything, and you go for the biggest no touch of all. So they were not happy, but they got all the evidence they wanted, so whatever. All right, you're on to another hot spot, which is the attic, and I don't go there. There's an entity up there that I nicknamed Mr. Nasty. He and I have had 3 physical confrontations over the years, so I made a deal with him. You leave me alone and I'll stay out of your space. So he's connected to an actor's trunk up there that was built in 1885. I personally feel that he was an alcoholic and he hated women, particularly alpha women. And I'm about as big an alpha as they get. So he and I just stay away from him and make everybody else take him. So, thank you all. I'll see you all downstairs, and Jesse will take you to the attic.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was looking at that going,
You get them to get to the bathroom too, right during the middle of the night.
Gotta dump it when you're done.
Finish the tour first.
I'm just taking a close-up, that's all. Thank you. I love the little blouses and the dresses they have. Oh. Okay.
So Bonnie talked about James. Oh, by the way, I'm Jesse. I'm a local paranormal investigator. I do the live streams here on the weekends. I'm sure that's what we do. But James was the man who was the highest peak in the building. You go into the attic. There's no really good way of doing that. But James more likely went up there and dropped off this hatch here. I can feel him around here sometimes, so I believe that's where he came. But anyways, come on in, and I want to introduce you to Gary.
Gary and Molly. All the cameras?
So Bonnie talked about Mr. Nasty, who is attached to an actor's trunk. That's who we also call Gary. He does answer to Gary, and that's the trunk right behind you. Gary don't like you touching his stuff. He doesn't like that his stuff's even here. So I make sure I touch it a lot. Aggravate him, but I've been volunteering here since 2014, so me and Gary have a good little love-hate relationship. Gary is known to touch. He's known to cuss you out, and he'll tell you all kinds of mean stuff. So that's our Gary. So if you want to get interaction with Gary tonight, my best thing is to come up in small groups. Gary, in a group like this, he will not even come close to doing anything for you. Also, for what, like a year, a lady started making her presence known up here. No idea who she was. So I kept arguing with like Gary, which I believe Gary keeps the other spirits quiet. So one night I was up here and I said, hey, don't let Gary push you around. If you're around, can you please tell me your name? And Gary warns her, told her, beware. And then right after that, this lady comes out. She goes, "Hi, my name is Molly." We got the video on YouTube if you want to watch it. It was perfect. So there was no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, you were in shock, weren't you?
I was so surprised because it was perfectly clear. But Molly hangs out on this side of the attic. Anytime I want to talk to her.
Hi, Gary. How's it going, bud? I didn't bring me a shot of whiskey.
Cold feeling because there is a vent somewhere right here. I debunked something for you. But this area, for whatever reason, is where Molly likes to hang out. Now, this is part of the old 1856 of the house. So, you know, you had the 2 rooms downstairs, and then you have this floor here. Over on that side is the 1880s. So, that being said, her being over on this side could indicate that she was once a servant of Marina
Focus.
May and Frank Jackson.
Gary didn't mess with my shit.
She'll loves talking about her. She's here. And
Sorry.
No,
I know
no,
you
you're
like my
good.
light. I'm just trying not to make it too bright.
so there's spots in the floor as you can see that are open. So when you come up here tonight, just be careful and don't fall into those holes. Also be careful. My creeper friend here sometimes he spooks people out. Of course, that place is a no-go.
How's that, guys? Better for you? Hi, Miss Molly. How are you, sweetheart? Boy, you have all kinds of neat little things back here.
See me on my live, I get that on my other.
Wow. It's nice that you and Gary are getting better acquainted.
If you guys don't have any questions, we can go down and Bonnie's going to show you Dr. Stringer's office.
Sorry with the light. I'm turning it away so you can get a picture. Gary, you gonna come hang out with us, Molly?
As long as Gary knows that you messed in his bed up, not me. These are a little lighter, but they're just like the stairs.
Oh, I went to a place, Malvern Manor in Iowa, is a haunted location. They have stairs that are literally 1 foot wide, and I have a 5.5 shoe, and only my heel would fit on the steps.
You ever go up to San Jose, California, you have to go visit the Winchester House.
Oh yeah, I heard that is just immaculate, or just so much fun. I'm a truck driver. I haven't been to Cali for a while, but you know, I have that advantage to travel.
I used to travel over the road, I just run local now.
I'm regional now, so out of this area, you know, stay west of, east of, yeah, like Texas, Oklahoma is like the farthest, Missouri.
Mind if I'm just there?
I don't mind, and I stay out of, thank you, ma'am. And I stay out of Jersey area.
Yeah. All right, welcome to the doctor's office. It was a very common practice in the late 1800s that doctors would practice medicine in the same house they lived in, and that was the case here. Out of the house, he added this room on for his medical practice. He also had 4 sets of pocket doors installed in the house. That was a big extravagance back in the day. During the day, he would close off the dining room and the parlor. The entryway where we began the tour was actually the waiting room for his medical practice. So his patients would come in those double doors and wait there. He would bring each patient down, he had another set of doors here, treat them, and they would exit by that door over there. That is one of the last original doors on the building. It's even got the original exit sign. I guess he thought people would get turned around a little bit, so they needed to know where to go out. It's in very bad shape. Usually at this point on every tour, I ask everyone if they live locally. I'm talking within a county of here. Yeah. Have you been here for Halloween?
No.
No,
Oh, you have to do this. We have a festival every year, and it's the second biggest fundraiser of the year for our museum. And we pack up all the artifacts, and we convert all 3 floors of this house into the hairiest, scariest haunted house. It is so scary, we don't recommend children under the age of 8 go through. And what better place to have a haunted house than a certified haunted house? In the last 15 years, we have been investigated as Houston and Chicago. And we have been certified haunted by 48 of them. So it's the real deal. So we do this just to raise a lot of money. We have a festival going on, the whole grounds are games for kids. We have a bonfire and we toast marshmallows. We have food trucks. It's a great big festival. It's free to go to the festival, and to go through on the tour, it's $7 a person, which is way better than Universal Studios. Last year we had you just come and get in line with the rest of the world. And I always recommend to our ghost tour people, come very early and stake your place. Because by 7:30, it opens at 7, there's 100 people in line. And it's crazy like that. It's the last 2 weekends before Halloween, regardless of the date it falls on, okay? So please remember us and come and see it, because this sure isn't what it looks like. This room is actually the last room on a forced tour through the house. We have partitions set up. They come in that front door and they have to go to the parlor. They have to go to the dining room. Then they have to go upstairs, down the hall, into the old master bedroom and so forth. They have to go, and there's no turning back. Once you're in, you're in. So this room, when they come down the front staircase, that's how they exit. Well, my very first year here, 17 years ago, this room was what they called the Tunnel of Terror. They had built an artificial tunnel going from this doorway to that doorway. They had suspended latex body parts all the way through it. So these poor victims, they've already been through a big scary haunted house, and then they gotta fight their way through body parts to get out. Well, in the walls of the tunnel were little trap doors, and volunteers were on the outside with scary masks on. And as soon as a victim was working their way through, they'd open up the doors and scream at them and so forth. Well, we had a 19-year-old kid in this room, and he was having the time of his life scaring everybody else. This wheelchair is one of the very old artifacts, and it's very fragile. It's one of the things that we barricade so that it doesn't get damaged when people are going through. So it was over in the corner with furniture in front of it. The kid's standing here, and he's going to town on everybody else, and all of a sudden something starts slapping him on the back of the head. And he turned around and looked, and this wheelchair was unbarricaded and rolling across the floor and whacking him. Well, that kid went right through the wall of the Tunnel of Terror. He tearing out the front door. I'm bringing a group in the front door. He looks at me and goes, "Get somebody else, I'm all done now." Now this happens every year. The entities that reside here, and believe me, there's several, are thrilled at Christmas because we all get in period costumes and we decorate the house and it's gorgeous. And they like Heritage Day again, we're in period costumes and so forth. But they hate Halloween because it's an insult to them. We're making fun. Unfortunately, it makes a lot of money, so we have to continue to make fun. And I spend the whole month down to the actual event. I work outside, I don't come in. I know better. So, please join us for Halloween, okay? All right, one more room and then you're on your own.
Since like 2000 people attended, how many survived? How many survivors?
This originally was a porch. And next to that was a private room.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get out.
The front porches of these buildings were for show, you know, big fancy railings and so forth. And then they would have what they called a privacy porch, and that would be back here. And when they first rescued the house from demolition, it had a working bathroom. So they decided to repair the back, close it in, and build, this was a gift shop, and around the corner was the bathroom. As you can see, it's now the military room. That had to happen about a year ago. The military room exhibit used to be in the back, in a room with windows going all the way around. Well, a fabrics expert told us that it was disintegrating the fabric. So we had to move the exhibit to a room that was much darker. So that's what happened. There was a lot of hubbub. I helped move the artifacts, and I got cold shots 3 times in one morning before I gave up and went home, because they did not want this to happen. For 30 years, it was the military room. That was their space. The whole exhibit began with the donation of these uniforms. They began with World War I, World War II, and Vietnam. The families of the soldiers that wore these uniforms brought them to us and asked us to honor their memory. And based on that, we dedicated this room, this exhibit, it's all military artifacts. Everything is housed in this one room. We have artifacts from the Civil War, World War I, and we've tried to acquire uniforms from all the different branches of the service. So this used to be one of the most haunted exhibits in the whole place. And since it moved, it's become ominously quiet. So if you get anything tonight, please, I would love to hear about it. All right, now you're all welcome to go on the 1st and 2nd floor anywhere you wish. If you need to go back to the attic, Jesse has to go with you. There are areas where there's no floor up there, so you might find yourself back on the 2nd floor way faster than you thought possible. In the meantime, I've got what we call the Book of Fame. It's 15 years of pictures in a 3-ring binder that people just took, different people, different times. And there's some pretty interesting stuff there if you'd like to take a few minutes and look. Okay? Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Bonnie.
And have a great time. I'm available in the front if you need to ask any questions. Okay?
Thank you.
I still have a trunk and a wool blanket from my father in World War II. Yeah.
He tried the army, but he was blocked. So they told him no. So he became a pilot.
You don't need to walk as pilot.
Yeah, and then brought his stuff here.
It's this gorgeous place. I just love it. And I have a massive headache. So somebody's been knocking. It's Christmas stuff back here and knickknacks and different things. See if you guys want to see. I got lights, so. You know, it's just, I mean, look at that old sewing machine. There's an old sewing machine on the bottom there, yeah. I love all the antiques and stuff. Just all the quirky stuff that, you know.
My wife used to collect all that. We got rid of a bunch of when we moved here. She's got lights from
1890.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
1896.
Any attachments?
no.
Yeah.
We had videos of orbs flying around our house
Yeah.
at different times.
They,
Especially when the grandkids are there, and then the grandkids, they turn around and every grandkid has looked at the same spot and talked about the man with the beard.
Yeah. Somebody's watching over.
Oh, yeah.
There was a live feed of a guy in Jersey that Shane Austin was doing a cleansing of a house. The lady has, like, her whole home is full of antiques. I mean, there's no spots
Yeah.
on the counters. She has so many antiques, and she's got a lamp from some auction she got, and there's a guy there that's bugging the heck out of her. That's the only thing about those, you never know. Attachments happen. This is just so gorgeous. That light keeps coming off and on. I'm going to park this for a little bit. I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna park it. Okay, I'm gonna park this camera for a few minutes right here, so you guys can see if anything comes about. Bye. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, spirits. Anybody around? Let me see if I put this one on. Hello. Oh, hello, spirits. How are you? What's your name? Hello. Don't go away. I'm going to get my voice recorder out so I can hear your name. Okay? You let me do that? Let's try this one. Come back over, spirit, and come back to there. Let me talk to you. Hi. I'll put this over here. There. Okay. So tell me your name. Come on. Say hi. How are you? Are you the little girl? Are you Mrs. Stringer? Or Mr. Stringer? Or Jimmy? Somebody. You know, if you talk into that recorder, I might be able to hear your voice. All right, let's try it again. I don't hear anybody. Let me try it again. You want to come back to the recorder? Thank you. Come back to the recorder. Oh, hello. Record. Say your name. Say it really loud. Really loud. Can you say it really loud? Oh, yes. I'm zoomed in. I'm like really far away. Literally like 4 feet away. Hi. What's your name? My name is Bonnie. I'm going to put this back down. Zoom back out. Okay. Thank you. Try it again. We've got background noise, guys. You want to come back to the recorder? I have it on slow. Okay, I'm going to try recording again. Okay, I put the recorder down again. Do you want to come up to the light with all the pretty colors and make it go up to red? Go ahead. Oh, wonderful. Can you make it go red?
A lot of times I don't see what they see, but who am I to judge, you know? The one thing I do,
Can you say your name in the voice recorder really loud?
lace, well, listen, but you know, fancy lace curtains. And if you stare at those windows long enough, you're gonna see a face, you're gonna see something. One lady swore they were like big faces in Jessica's window, well, no, after, you know, the lace itself. Well, we can't go, open our door.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see what if we can hear anything. Heard something there. I'm not sure what it is. I'll have to go on back and check. Okay. Let's move on. Ooh, don't break your glass, Bonnie. Hello in here. Okay, that's not gonna work. There we go. That'll work. Oh, maybe not. Put on the book. Now let's try it.
All the ordinances that we've required, we've had 5 of them over the years. People just, they don't work.
Anybody in here? If anybody's in here, go to that the meter with the lights and make it light up, please.
Apparently been in the family a long time, and they said if you museum will come and
Attention. Hoot.
it's the fanciest of all.
Corporal, sergeant, captains, please go to the light and make it light up. Somebody's in here, but he's not a happy camper. Okay.
The lady's on her way out, she turns around, takes this last picture of the house, and there it is.
Hey, Doc. Is anybody in here? I'm gonna put that right there. I'm gonna put the recorder right next to it. Oops, oops, sorry. Okay, is anybody in here? Doc, is this your patient room? Is this where you do surgeries? Nobody's here. Everybody must be upstairs, spirits. Okay, well, we'll move on. Come and follow me.
All over, and every one of the grandkids, out of 6, 5
same man in the same hallway, and they all have, you were up 2 or 3 years old, all of them.
Well, well, well. Who do we have in here? Jimmy, right? Jimmy usually likes in here. Okay, let me put a recorder up right next to that. Okay, who's in here? Hello? Focus, camera, focus. Hi. Can I use the recorder? Record you? Why don't you talk to my recorder? Mrs. Stringer, are you in here? Jimmy, are you in here? Somebody? You're in here, say your name really loud on my recorder. Thank you. Boy, somebody's really active, or it's maybe a wire? Nope. That's somebody there. Stringer, are you in here? Hey, are you in here? Somebody? In here, say your name really loud on my recorder. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to put this on the table. I think I'll be okay right there. Okay, you can see the light. I know the light wasn't from me. Are you gonna make those lights go up? Come on, make those lights go. You were doing it just a few minutes ago. Who was that? Mrs. Stringer? Jimmy? I don't want to turn that on. You're recording, you shouldn't have done that. I'm looking for my goodies. I got all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. This is what I want. Hi there, come on. Come on back and visit with me. Come on. Come on back and visit with me. Hello? Who is that? Come on, come and say hi. Is that you, Jimmy? Huh? Is it Stringer? Somebody was just here. Oh, this thing not working right? Why is this not working right? I just got, like, something happened to her when I got the ship. Alright, I'll put this down low, because this thing is loose. Did you guys leave me? Jimmy, are you not here anymore? Mrs. Stringer, you're not here anymore? Mrs. May Stringer? James? Nobody here. There was just a little bit ago. Where is everybody? Everybody went upstairs? Spirits, come and visit with me. It's good, yeah. Come on, come and visit. You want me to go upstairs? Gary, you want me to come up there? Ellie? Jessie May? All right. I'm coming. Yeah, good. You know what kind of time we'll have when I come up there? I'm going. Okay, I guess we're going up. Jessie May doesn't wanna. Jessie May, are you in here? You can go upstairs and play. Go ahead. You guys want to come in here or? Okay. Well, I was going up. Okay, thank you. I'm coming, Gary. Jimmy, are you gonna come with me? I think everybody went up here, didn't they? Yeah, everybody's up here.
But I heard two women conversating back and forth on the audio about 4:30 in the morning. Two ladies up there talking.
Yeah. Come sit next to me, Gary.
I said, you're not gonna talk to me, I'm leaving, your last chance to say something. Okay, I'm leaving, and I didn't hear it at the time, but I went back and listened to it, it goes, bye.
I was doing the live stuff. Hey Gary, so can you please say your name through this thing? Or you come through it with name? So, you're being a smart ass, exactly what I said. I said, well, thank you anyways, Gary. He goes, you're welcome.
I don't like this thing.
So he's a butthole, but he's also funny too. He does have a weird sense of humor. Molly, she's pretty good.
I heard, I watched her YouTube thing when she said her name.
Did you watch the video?
Gary, what are you doing?
Did you watch that one? Oh, that whole mic.
I'm gonna set you guys somewhere. Let's see if I can set you over here. Can you see? Here, I'll do this. There we go.
It is warm up here.
Okay, Gary. I'm putting this over here on the checkerboard. So if you would, if you like to put a light up there, if you're around and you want to be spontaneous, I know that's impossible for you because you're tied to that trunk, you know. But, you know, you could light that up and let me see you because I can't see my eyes yet. Or Molly. And don't be shy all of a sudden. You weren't shy before.
You got to interact with you before?
Yeah. Yeah, we were having a very good conversation before.
I got him to say bye once, and that was it. Bye. And I didn't hear it. I heard it. I went back and listened to my recording. When I said, "You're not talking, you're not saying anything, I'm leaving."
No, I don't know
Gary?
if that day you was
Hello.
asking him that you were asking him about Texas.
Yeah. And it lit, and it did. That's the only time all day that thing lit up. When I asked him, I told him I was from Texas. And it lit up.
I don't know if I'm doing the light right, Gary, but I'm gonna try it. Somebody come and light that light up for me. Come on, Gary. I'm gonna get the rocket chair out. I'm gonna listen for you.
Come on, Gary, light that light for me.
So we're in Broadville or what? Why were you stuck on the, want me to slow it down?
You in here, Molly? Can you let me know you're here, Molly?
Sorry.
Would you like to know how to turn the attic? Can you let me know you're here? Can you light this up for me? If you're here, Molly, can you light this up for me? It's really dark in here. It's really dark in here.
How about that, Gary? Is that a little better for you?
You in here, Molly? Can you tell me? Molly? Can you say Molly?
Gary Googles. Mr. Gary. Come out and talk to me. Please.
Are you over here because Gary won't let you go in there? Is there anything here?
Here. You really clean out the flashlight thing. Maybe I can do it. I don't know. I have problems with Gary. Save your energy, I guess, to have the connection. I do. We talked to you last time I was here. Come on. We'll talk to you.
Say hi.
Come on, Gary, turn that light on. I don't believe you can do it. I think you're just like El Chico. this light doesn't bother you. Come on, Gary. Let's do this. Miss Molly, are you here? Hi, Molly. How are you, sweetheart? You good? It's not so hot here today, is it? It's pretty nice. Where's the little girl that's always up here? Molly, you wanna, if I move one of the meters, will you wanna touch it so you let me know I'm here, you're here? Please? Here, how about if I put it up here? All you do is gotta come close to it, or I'll put it on the chair, how about that? All you gotta do is come close to it. Make it change colors. You want me to change the light? Is it too dark or too light? I can make it a little lighter. How's that? It's gonna be dark for you guys, but okay, Gary. I'm in my chair. Come and say hi. Did you leave already, Gary? Is that your bed, Gary, or is that somebody else's bed? Can I lay on that bed? Tell me yes or no. Can I lay on that bed? Miss Molly, are you here? I don't think anybody's here. Well, if somebody's here, come and touch me. Pull on my shirt. Make a sound. Try that flashlight, Gary. You're good with the flashlights. Jesse said you were good. Did I do it wrong? Should I have Jesse come up and adjust that flashlight right? Maybe Jesse will fix the flashlight if I did it wrong. I got a flashlight there. I don't know if I did it wrong or not.
Come on, Gary Bear. You wanted that for best friend?
I was close, wasn't I?
Yeah, fairly close.
Can you like that back up? Can you do
Gary
it again?
Bear. Come on, bro.
I think he went bye-bye. He's temperamental.
That sounded like Gary's voice.
Yep, it sure did. Gary, you been at the saloons again? How did you get trapped in an actor's trunk? Was that yours?
Yep, like that one time I will leave it. You like that up?
Don't make me come over there. And what? Oh, really? Yeah. Do you travel a lot, Gary? Oh, hello, hello. I can feel you now. Come on, turn the light on. Please. You want me to turn that light off over there? I don't have it real bright. But that bed sure does look good, Gary. Is that yours? I heard that. Are you a cat or what? Dude, we should have had some. I should have brought some whiskey. We could have had some whiskey together. Yeah, you drink, don't you? Or you used to?
Right here, I'm taking this away. Taking this away, Gary.
Okay, Gary, we're leaving. You gonna tell me bye again?
Thank you. He says, I heard a thank you.
Oh, for leaving? Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Bye, Gary.
You being a smart ass, Gary? You gotta be a smart ass again? Can you tell me bye? I'm leaving, dude. I'm leaving.
okay. Molly, Gary, kid, children. He's gonna talk to me. There's not very many people here today, so it should be pretty good. I didn't see you turn that flashlight on yet, Gary. I don't think you know how. Seriously. Whatever. Who's David? Jimmy up here? Miss Molly, are you here? Spirits, come up here and say hi to me. Who's me? Gary. Well, hello, Gary. I'm Bonnie. You gonna turn that flashlight on, Gary? Why not? I've seen the flash. Too tired? They have no energy or what? Miss Molly, are you here? Can you make that green light go up in another color? Come on, spirits, come on up here and visit. I just want to talk to you guys. I like coming here. Y'all are so nice, even Gary, who gets crabby once in a while. Weather? Well, are you guys just shy or what? Why are you shy? You have enough people that come up and visit you on a regular basis. Where's the little girls? Where's Molly? And Gary, you're not doing anything over there. You don't have to turn the light on and acknowledge me or nothing. Do you like that light, Gary, or no? A little. Come over and touch my shoulder, Gary. Say hi. So you were an actor? Or were you a stagehand? That really looks like an actor's trunk. You traveled with that all over the place, I bet, didn't you? Did you go to Europe? Yes? Oh, nice. Did you go to Europe? Did you go to France? Or did you just stay in the United States? Abroad? Did you go all over? So, okay, again, were you an actor? Were you a magician? I'm gonna put this up here, Gary. Not touching your trunk, but I'm putting that up there. Yes, I put on the top. Is that okay? Or would you rather have me put it lower? Right there? How about there? Can you touch it? Make the lights change from green to like yellow or red or something. I just need the I need the acknowledgement you're here. So I'm not talking myself like a nutcase. I guess you don't exist. Don't exist, do ya? Talking to myself looking at things. Just me having a little talk with Mr. You don't want to be cooperative.
Mr. Gary Bear. Gary. You're being bashful, Gary. Molly. Molly, you can come out and speak. Don't let Gary push you around. I give you permission to talk. Hey, Gary, why don't you turn the light on top of your trunk, man? If you turn it on, I'll take it off.
Looks like you would anyway. He's not gonna do it, Gary, until you help us out, man.
Something like that, man.
Hell, I know.
Sometimes he does turn it on, he'll leave it on, just let it die. But you know what? There you go.
So the storm has been, it's scary. So with all this electricity in the sky, you should have a lot of energy tonight. What happened? You get tired, tuckered out from last night? Miss Molly, are you here? Hey Gary, you're not talking to me. You gonna do the flashlight now? Something? How do you do a flashlight? Does Miss Molly talk to you guys?
Oh, we haven't tried yet, not yet.
They're kind of quiet.
Yeah. What is it?
Who lives in there? Earthquake 3. Looks like no survivors. Corpses. Hey, I'll take you.
Come on, Gary. I don't know, buddy. If I gave you a cigarette, I bet you like that. I'm gonna turn this one off, Gary. I'm gonna try this other one. Maybe you're just being a poop head. Oh, now you light up. Nice, Gary. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hi. Focus. It's not focusing. Hi, Mr. Gary. How are you? I'm gonna put that right there in Gary's trunk. We're gonna watch Gary. Oh, what, did you disappear, Gary? Huh? Did you disappear? I like that bed, man. That bed looks good, Gary. That isn't your bed, is it? Huh. So, who just went past the little K2 meter? Miss Molly, are you here? All right, I'm cutting this feed off, guys.